Hi, everyone, and thank you for attending today's demo of Game of Pods. My name is Matei Neagos. I'm the head of delivery for Cognizant Softvision Romania, and it's a big honor for me and for the team that's joining me here today to be presenting you a platform that is not already an exciting transformational tool for our business, but we hope soon it will also be used to become more agile, to support stronger cultures, and to leap forward into the digital business by our clients as well. Before we dive in, I want to start with a short pre-recorded video of Brian Humphries, Cognizant Softvision, Cognizant CEO, sorry, and Andres Angelani, Cognizant Softvision CEO. So please take it away.
Hi, everybody. First and foremost, thank you so much for joining us today in Programmers Week for the first release of Game of Pods. I'm Andres Angelani, Chief Product Engineering Officer at Cognizant and CEO of Cognizant Softvision. In just a few moments, our heads of product delivery, communities, and engineering teams behind the Game of Pods will unveil this amazing platform. But first, I'm joined today by a very good friend and a special guest, Brian Humphries, the CEO of Cognizant. Brian has been a prime supporter of fast-growing digital engineering business since the day we met back in early 2019, and we've received his unwavering support as well in innovation pursuits such as these. So for that, thank you so much for being here, Brian. It's always an honor to have you, especially sponsoring these things.
Well, absolutely, Andres, and it's a pleasure to be with you and to participate in Programmers Week. If I could, before we get into Game of Pods, I wanted to spend a moment talking about digital, just so everybody understands just how critical this is to our future. And accordingly, over the last 3 years, we spent more than $2 billion in M&A to accelerate our digital capabilities. And a stellar example of this is actually Softvision, which brought us your expertise in agile software development. In the past 12 months, we've complemented that with the acquisitions of Tin Roof, Magenic, and Hunter Technical. And our focused investments have resulted in a digital engineering business now at a run rate of $1.2 billion, growing at a 30% CAGR, all of which makes Cognizant one of the largest digital engineering firms in the world. And our sustained progress in extending this portfolio has encouraged more clients to engage us to execute their transformation agendas. We've attracted terrific talent to the company, and it has enabled us to create more innovative IP that we believe will drive the future of software and product delivery for the next decade. Now, back to Game of Pods. I expect Game of Pods will be a big part of that. In recent months, Andres and team have brought me through Game of Pods, and I see tremendous potential in this. To support our distinctive culture as we grow and expand our teams into more and more regions, we use custom-built software to guide our product engineering teams in their day-to-day work. Game of Pod can do a lot to better service and support our clients, support our people, and support Cognizant's mission to engineer modern businesses to improve everyday life.
We believe in the mission, Brian, and as we continue to grow, this differentiating digital engineer prowess from Cognizant. We started this about 2 years ago. We believed in the idea that innovation culture could be codified in some way, but we wanted to also make it fun and engaging for our people. So we built the software platform first, and we tested it with our communities, our talent, and our pods alike. And we resulted in this platform that now grows all the time and matures all the time as we refine how we approach our engagement in communities and how we approach our work with our clients.
Well, that's powerful, Andres, and using software to codify a culture of innovation is, of course, a great goal for all of us to have. Software engineers building software for software engineers. I really love that. Keeping our people engaged in their work while developing themselves is, of course, critical also to delivering our services. Also critical to maintaining a vital, engaged culture that's excited about being here. So it sounds like Game of Pods will be a force multiplier for Cognizant.
Thank you, Brian, for your help in kicking this off. It certainly looks like great potential. And I'd like to hand it over to Matei Neagos, our head of delivery in Europe, to launch the demo. Matei, it's all yours.
Thank you, Andres, and a big thank you to Brian as well for all the support on this. Let's get on with it with 6 simple words. 6 simple words that I want you to remember when you think about Game of Pods. A platform for the good stuff. And of course, you're already thinking, what's the good stuff? Well, let me explain. Let's see if this will work. So Game of Pods, it's a platform that helps our teams to take advantage of the things they love most about our company, hence the good stuff. And as engineers and designers, we love to be connected to one another, to feel a sense of real community during our work. Of course, who doesn't like that? Some call it culture. I just call it like feeling part of something. Because community for us means being connected to our peers, sharing ideas, challenging ourselves, having meetups, and growing our skills in a fun and engaged way. And of course, we also do client work. We're serious people. So operating in teams that we call pods, we love agile processes. We like getting things done quickly. We love less bugs, less errors. We like to try new tricks to drive faster value. We love making our clients happy, in short. And for us at Cognizant Softvision, all of this is the good stuff. Basically, communities and pod-based delivery are really central to our operating model, and they are core to our identity as an organization. So Game of Pods is a software that our teams are already now using to make doing these things more fun and more possible, no matter where they are around the globe and no matter how fast we're growing as a company. And it's a platform that we're really excited to be able to present to you here today. Since many of you watching this are technologists yourselves, I hope that you'll see the passion that has gone into this and really the continued development journey that we're on, because it's a platform that we're, as I said, already using, that we're onboarding more and more Cognizant Softvisioners too, and I hope you will follow us on that journey. And in just a moment, I'm going to hand it over for what you're really here for, not really my opening, but a real peek at the actual experiences in the platform today. First, you'll see how we're using the app to enable communities, and then how we're going to use Game of Pods to strengthen our delivery teams and model as well. After that, you'll hear from our heads of communities in North America and Romania, Melissa and Bogdan, on real stories about pods and communities already using the platform. And finally, you'll get to hear from the engineering team that built this about what's next in the pipeline for Game of Pods, of course, followed by a Q&A, so you can ask questions about what piqued your interest here today. So stick around. And enough of the setup. How about we get a look at that good stuff I was talking about? Team, take it away.
Welcome to the world of Game of Pods. This exciting software platform is all about codifying a culture of innovation. It emphasizes agile processes and a strong talent community to create better software outcomes for us and, of course, for our clients. Here's how it works. Once onboarded into Game of Pods, the main space for every member is the My Community interface. Here, we get to the heart of the platform and what it can do for an organization like ours. In complex global organizations with many team members covering many skill sets, it's important to keep people not just connected to their day-to-day work, but also to peers within their skill set. That's what the My Community space within Game of Pods provides to a global team. As a member of a talent community, like our QA community in this case, Game of Pods provides you with a space to do some very cool things. Have an idea that you've been chewing on and want to share? Game of Pods is a space to share. Post thought leadership for your community to engage with and build up your brand while training peers. Or call events. Schedule a time, invite community members, and the platform will even alert your team before the event to make sure they show up. Or maybe there's a bigger upskilling you want to help your team with. With quests, Game of Pods lets community members create guided journeys and challenges for their peers. Things like training, collaborative problem solving, mentoring initiatives, and more may be managed with quests. Each quest has objectives, milestones, content, and validation at the end that community members, or even pods, can sign up for and complete. Completion of quests supports individual skills profile growth while making all of our community stronger. Collectively, these things are how Game of Pods helps us nurture community and upskill together, leveraging everybody's expertise and in-project learnings for the common good. Now, the platform isn't just about community support, though. In their project work, our community members work within delivery teams, which we call pods. Pods aren't just clunky groups of people. They're agile teams that have processes, ceremonies, and common KPIs that are meant to guide their work and drive outcomes fast. When pods first form on a client project, they need to begin setting these things up and maturing as a pod. Game of Pods guides the pods on that maturity journey. The pod's maturity path is unique to each pod. It gets set up through formalized goals that keep the pod constantly evolving. A big goal here is to motivate and drive continuous improvement for the team. Over time, as pods deliver their product and achieve goals within the platform, their maturity level reaches a point of leveling up. This is where what we call mitosis happens. And the pod grows in team members as we take on more product ownership or work with our client. This is all made possible by targeting success, achieving success, and showing success, all of which the platform supports. Badges within the platform help us to recognize that progress and reward pod members or the pod itself for great work. Each award promotes agile best practices and behaviors that foster our continuous push for excellence. The award history view showcases the pod's achievements across the organization. In order to keep the focus heavily on driving outcomes for our client's business, each pod will tailor their KPIs accordingly and report metrics in an organized and simple manner that the client understands. It's not only about the metrics. You can observe and analyze the pod's strengths, like we see here. This pod is really versed in developer best practices and project management, but we see room for improvement when it comes to innovation and performance. By seeing strengths and weaknesses, which we just call areas for improvement, this view helps the teams to raise red flags ahead of time to allow for course correction. If we aren't performing as fast as we want, or with the level of code quality that we want, or any other kind of metric that's important to the team or to the client, Game of Pods makes that clear. Then the team can set a plan to get back on track. Finally, the awards collection is a place where we've codified agile best practices and are empowering individuals and pods to carve their own paths. There are badges and trophies that can be earned for great work, but they also show platform users things that they can do to work better as teams or grow as individuals. Think of them like challenges. Want this or that badge? See how you earn it and take next steps to get there. Our pod leaderboard shows pods how they're performing in terms of experience points earned in the platform compared to other delivery teams around the company. Just a bit of healthy competitive motivation. The pods love it. Game of Pods is also getting a marketplace for redeeming all those badges and trophies in ways that often complement the system itself. Often based on their talent community, pods and individuals will redeem points for things like books, conferences, and third-party certifications related to their own domain. Imagine being able to get signed up for one of the leading Agile project management certifications after doing great work and helping your community in Game of Pods. This is a big boost to your career and to your impact on the team. It's good for all of us. It's all about completing the circle, from delivery to talent development to helping that talent grow through the points they earn and redeem in the platform. Game of Pods codifies a great ecosystem of software development. These are some of the core features currently found for our community members and the pods using this amazing platform. Stay tuned for what comes next.
Your interest. Next, let's hear it from our head of communities in Romania, my colleague Bogdan, about how we create a culture of mastery and how Game of Pods codifies it. Bogdan, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Matei. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. I'm so glad to be here and talk more about Game of Pods and how it helps building our communities and how it supports us. So let's start then. So on more than one occasion, I've been asked, is Game of Pods just not a tool? The short answer is definitely no. But in order to convey the power, the meaning, and immense applicability of the Game of Pods, I would like to tell the underlying story and how it's supporting our working model of assembling communities of talent. All the colleagues here today with me can vouch that we take great pride in our communities. Communities help us nurture a sense of personal growth, of perfecting and honing our technical skills, of sharing knowledge and experiences with other like-minded people. Communities are our core. And if we are able to create software that enables communities to thrive, then it becomes so much more than just a tool for us. And if you're having a hard time relating to these concepts, I'm inviting you to answer one simple question. Do you remember your first day of work? How about your first week, month, or year? I've been with Cognizant Softvision for more than 10 years now, and to be honest, I cannot recall how it is to join a new company, not to mention to do so in the middle of a pandemic. But Radu, for our mobile community, thought long and hard about this, especially in our current context of growth, with new people joining us each week. He wanted transparency for these new joiners, something that will bring them up to speed with the culture, the tools and processes and our ways of doing things. But this also will act as a virtual body, a place that can act as a tour guide to what Cognizant Softvision is. So he built a quest called Welcome to the Jungle, baby. By having this quest within the platform, we can transform our onboarding experience with each new joiner. We can make it fun and engaging, keep this experience consistent across the community, and also help us improve constantly. This story captures the magic of our communities and also Game of Pods. While organizing our talent this way help us create a culture of mastery where everybody can give back, can pay forward, support and grow. Game of Pods is our way of codifying this culture and give it the space to develop even more. However, getting people together is only the first step of being a thriving community. Keeping them together is a totally different story. And this is where Game of Pods allows us to capture all the processes that go into building and running the communities, and enables us to transpose our values into its digital counterpart. As community leaders, we can start codifying our success stories and processes into journeys that help people grow. Game of Pods allows us to do just that by creating transparency and keeping in touch with our community members. In a world where technological advancements happen every day, it keeps getting harder and harder for people to discover what their next step is and what they should be learning next. This is why everything in Game of Pods revolves around skills and an understanding of the community's perception around these skills. Each community member can share their interest in learning a skill, but also their interest in teaching a skill. This way, Game of Pods empowers community members to create new meaningful connections and drive their own initiatives to learn and grow together. As you already have seen, Game of Pods gives to the members of communities recognition for their hard work, their dedication, and their results. It's our way of enabling and encouraging a systematic recognition. And with all this in mind, no, Game of Pods is not just another tool, rather our own way of codifying the culture we've created within the communities. Now, I'll pass the microphone to my colleague, Melissa, who's going to walk you through how Game of Pods is helping and supporting our delivery pods. Melissa, you have the stage.
Thanks, Bogdan. Hi, everyone. I'm Melissa Crow, Head of Communities in North America and champion of the pod model here in Softvision. I'd like to share with you the story of a brand new pod who used Game of Pods to help support their journey and deliver amazing results for their customer. Softvision was entering into a very large existing account to pilot our pod approach. The pod was not only brand new to the account, but also comprised of some very new joiners to Softvision. One of the first things the pod did was meet with their stakeholders to understand the desired outcomes and idea of what good looks like. Why are we here? What are we trying to build? And what outcomes do we hope to provide? They set product-focused KPIs in each of the 4 dimensions: velocity, quality, autonomy, and product impact, establishing baselines and targets in each. Then the pod validated their application of best practices, applied new ones as they worked on their sprint deliverables, and reached target levels of continuous performance. They earned badges and trophies along the way, celebrated as a team, and shared those successes with their stakeholders. The pod was soon beating those targets and outperforming other project teams that were there before them. Needless to say, the client was thrilled. They aligned with the client on core competencies for pod members and used those to identify core members within the pod that could be split off to seed new pods. Within a matter of only 3 to 4 months, Softvision had grown to 4 pods within the account, and the other project teams were reaching out and asking, what is this whole pod model thing? And what is Game of Pods? What is it all about? How can we participate? Now, for those teams that are not yet a pod, we're in the process of getting them there. Game of Pods will support this journey very soon with the My Team feature, where pods will grow through a series of quests that help them learn and apply best practices together so they can level up their pod model maturity. Now I'll pass it to Cristian, who can share more about what's coming next in Game of Pods.
Hey, I'm Cristian Nicola, representing the engineers behind Game of Pods, and together with my colleagues Marius and Adrian, we'll be taking questions later on. I'm here today to represent a team that has been working really hard for the past few months, but who is excited to be part of the journey that is Game of Pods. And now that we're here, I will shamelessly take advantage of the screen time to say a huge thank you to all of you and for everything that you've built so far. You're all rock stars. In terms of roadmap and what's next for Game of Pods, this year, clearly our main focus will be releasing the MVP for My Team. This will support the modification efforts. And of course, as with every product, we will be learning from our users while iterating on their feedback. Hoping that I've managed to get your interest in terms of what's next. If you want to be updated on what we're up to each month, please check out our monthly game report available on gameofpods.com. And because I'm a man of a few words, let's move over to Q&A, shall we? Matei, what do you have for us?
Thank you, Cristi. You guys are not off the hook just yet, but thank you all for your interesting presentations. Let's look at what questions the audience has for you. And for that, I'll stop my screen share so they can get a better look at you. Let's see what we have here. So in a world of games and gamification, how is Game of Pods any different? I don't know, maybe the product guy of this platform would like to answer that. Adi?
Yep. Hello, everyone. I'm Adrian, and I represent the product for Game of Pods. Very good question, this one with gamification. In terms of gamification and how is this different? It's not really that different because it doesn't need to be. We're just using gamification principles such as development and accomplishment. So what would this mean? You're motivated because you feel like you're improving, you're leveling up, you're achieving mastery. Another one would be epic meaning and calling, meaning you're motivated because you feel that you're part of something bigger than yourself and your actions have a higher purpose. Or ownership and possession, because you feel like you own something, you want to improve it, you want to protect it, and you want to get more of it, and many others. So after all, why do we like games? Because they give us obstacles that we volunteer to tackle, and getting over them is playing the game. So this is exactly what we try to do. Provide people and teams and pods and communities a framework where they could tackle problems creatively, and also the tools that they need to use in order to solve them. So in other words, you pass challenges by creatively using what's available to you, which is another gamification principle called empowerment of creativity and feedback. Thank you.
If possible, I would like to share a few notes here. So regarding gamification part for the My community part. So I've been working with communities and leading multiple communities for many years now, and we always tried to find a gamification system that help us understand our contribution, to be visible to everyone, to empower us, to engage us, to encourage us to contribute more. And we failed every time because we didn't have the My community part on Game of Pods. Right now, I see this possible because having this functionality, it helps us aggregate everything we do in a very engaging and very gamified way, so that we can accumulate at the end of the day experience points, badges, and everything that we can spend in a way in the marketplace, something that was in the demo video, not there yet, but it will be there. So I truly see the possibility of having gamification for the communities. Until now, even though we tried many ways and forms, we didn't succeed.
Thank you, Pupi. And since you're there, let me throw another one your way. Somebody's asking, when can we start using the app?
As soon as possible is the answer. So the plan is like we started earlier this year to play around with the application, get feedback, improve, and everything. And right now we have a plan of rolling this out. The My Community part, we're rolling it out globally by the end of the year. So please expect Q4 for every community member to be onboarded in Game of Pods. It will be iteratively. I cannot, if I know the community and the country, I can say it more specifically, but high level, we aim to be fully onboarded by end of Q4.
Cool. Thank you so much. Let's see another interesting one. Adi, I think this is for you as well. What is the feedback loop when a user shares an idea? How do you incorporate that?
Yeah. The feedback loop reaches us, the product team, and we obviously look at it. Feature and improvements ideas are analyzed and prioritized, and then added to the roadmap if the case, whereas bugs are addressed by the dev team in one of the next releases.
Cool, thank you. Cristian, maybe this is in your alley. How large can a pod be? And if there's a limit, what happens to a larger pod?
Well, you guys all heard about mitosis and what Melissa mentioned. Once a team gets too big, we split that into, the ideal size will be 8 to 10 people. We managed to get around that number with the Game of Pods that we have right now. We used to be a large team, and we split it in 2 or 3 pods at some point, and then we managed to stick with 2 solid pods that we have right now. And kudos to the rockstars again.
Absolutely. Let's see what else do we have here. Bogdan, so maybe one for the communities. The skill I want to learn or teach is not available in the platform. What can I do to have it added?
So we already added a lot of skills in the platform, but it can happen that a new trendy skill becomes available and somebody is interested in learning that. So please reach out to your community leader and we'll add it. So there's no manual way right now to add the skill directly as a community member to add the skill directly, but working with your community leader will definitely work on adding it.
Thank you. And another one for communities, if the work of a given engineer crosses communities, for instance, enterprise.net, cloud, and DevOps, can an engineer pursue quests and rewards across community boundaries?
So right now, the way we've built community is very, I would say, cohesive, very in line with what we have right now. An engineer can be part of one community because we have a management structure there and you can have only one manager. But the idea is that currently you can't. So if you're I would say .NET developer, you'll see your .NET community. This is something definitely we're gonna take into consideration in the future releases, to be able to see the activities from multiple communities and even take part of quests from other communities. Right now it's not possible, but in the roadmap we'll think about this and create this structure and more transparency to see what our other communities are doing.
Absolutely. I think it's an interesting idea to pursue, but also it kind of ties nicely into the next question for Adi. How do we measure the success of the platform?
That's a very, very good and extremely complex question. How do we measure success? We would like to measure success as a change in users' behavior. This is terribly difficult to measure with numbers. For instance, in terms of communities, we just launched the feature. We're slowly getting out of alpha, and for what we know right now, we look at, for instance, percentage of users as being part of a community quest. In terms of the upcoming My Team feature, that we look at, for instance, the number of teams who finished at least one quest during the previous month. So we look at those numbers in order to we hope it's a leading indicator for the change in users' behavior and in the processes that we aim to influence with the product.
Cool, thank you, Adi. The question that maybe I'll split between Marius and Melissa, because I think they're interesting perspectives. What has been what do you see the biggest challenge on Game of Pods adoption? Maybe ladies first, Melissa. You worked a lot with onboarding teams.
Yeah, I'll speak from the perspective of the pod model and Game of Pods and adoption there from the beta over the past year and a half or so. I think the biggest challenge for most pods has been realizing how all four dimensions can apply to you as a pod, even when you're not fitting the exact definition of true cross-functional pod, right? Maybe you're a pod that's all back-end engineers and QA. You don't have front-end, you don't have embedded design or embedded product. Understanding how to have a product-focused KPI in all four of the dimensions has been challenging, right? It's not impossible. It's just a different way of thinking about your work and aligning to the desired outcomes of the business. But that's been the biggest transformation, I think, is you to change your mindset, the way you think about the work that you're doing. And once you get over that hurdle, everything kind of falls in line and it clicks in everybody's brain, and then it's fine and they're working along. But that's the what I see as the most common thus far.
Thank you, Melissa. So Marius, as a delivery manager who I know has onboarded teams into the platform, what are the biggest challenges you've seen?
I think Melissa already covered it. It's the mindset. So it's not different based on your role or what your position is in the company, delivery community, wherever you are, whatever you look at the platform, you should have that product mindset, and you should just readjust with your team to follow that mindset. And once you do that, it's easy. And if you can't easily, you can just reach out to our teams, to our codification team, to our product team, and we can help you.
Thank you, Marius. Adrian, I think this one is for you. I find it's a very innovative concept to make the team growth progress visible. However, have you considered the drawback when building a team in such a game model?
I'm struggling to understand the question. The team growth progress visible.
Yeah. So I can repeat it if you want. I find it's a very innovative concept to make the progress visible. However, if we have considered drawbacks when building the team in a gamified model.
Right.
We've considered any drawbacks in this model.
Right. We've seen some drawbacks, for instance, in the pod leaderboards. In their pods were ranked as the number of points that that team had. An undesired and unseen consequence of that was that some users focused more on their actual position on the leaderboard rather than following or paying attention to the badges and what was asked for that pod to do. So that was an unintended consequence of that thing. And obviously that's a good question, because we're now more careful than ever in showing teams and individuals' progress publicly. So yes, that thing opened our eyes on this.
Absolutely. And Adi, since I have you, maybe we move a bit higher level from the nitty-gritty of things, and a general question: if the product strategy changed over the last year and a half, almost 2 years since the pandemic hit.
Oh yes. It should change. I mean, it adapted. The vision didn't change. The vision would be of Game of Pods would be aligning around what matters most, and codifying the processes that drive success and delivery excellence and innovation. It's about fostering team collaboration, and this is what we had in the back of our minds while building this. So we extended that thing to building communities and supporting each other at becoming better, and building healthier software culture focused on outcomes. That's a struggle, and this is actually one of the purposes of Game of Pods. So during the past year, the product strategy was focused on building the right blueprint, the framework, if you may, for bringing the aforementioned product vision to life, promoting collaboration, and bringing communities together was even more difficult during the pandemic. So our immediate vision was to offer our colleagues the right tool for overcoming this barrier. And this is where GOP communities come into play. It's our newest released feature, and if you haven't seen it yet, you'll get to experience very, very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Adi. I think I don't see any other questions, but I think that's a good one to close things on. It's pretty encompassing. If nothing comes up in the meantime, I really wanted to thank the 5 of you for making time today to talk with me and to present this. I really hope that the audience at home, so to speak, was interested by this, that the Cognizant Softvisioners all around the world are interested to find out more and sign up as soon as possible. And also, why not, if you're not a Cognizant Softvisioner, that this might make you want to be interested to become one. And with that, we thank you again. Thank you all, and see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.